This week in T1D, the week of June 20th, 2026. 6 type 1 diabetes stories, every claim sourced on screen. FDA approves the first drug for kids newly diagnosed with type 1. The FDA granted accelerated approval to teplizumab, Tzield, to slow the loss of the body's own insulin in children aged 8 to 17, recently diagnosed with stage 3 type 1 diabetes, the first disease-modifying therapy cleared at clinical diagnosis, not just to delay stage 3 in those at risk. Key context: it's an accelerated approval based on a C-peptide surrogate. It does not cure type 1, and it does not replace insulin. Source: FDA news release. New 2026 ADA guidelines make automated insulin delivery the preferred option for type 1. In its 2026 Standards of Care, the American Diabetes Association named automated insulin delivery, AID, an insulin pump and CGM that adjust insulin automatically, also called a closed loop, the preferred way to deliver insulin for everyone with type 1. It also drops old prerequisites for starting one, like a minimum C-peptide, autoantibodies, or set time on insulin first, and says it can be considered early, even at diagnosis. Source: ADA Standards of Care in Diabetes 2026. An implanted year-long CGM is now running an automated insulin system. At the 2026 ADA Scientific Sessions, Senseonics shared real-world data on Eversense 365, an implantable CGM that lasts about a year, paired with the Twist automated insulin delivery system. Among 153 people with type 1, time in range averaged about 76% in the first 30 days. It's described as the first interoperable implanted CGM in a closed loop. These are early, real-world numbers from the device maker, not a head-to-head trial. Source: Senseonics press release, ADA 2026 data. An insulin pump maker put every eligible user's real results online. Bionics, maker of the iLet automated insulin delivery system, launched a public dashboard showing near real-time, real-world outcomes for every iLet user who meets 2 preset criteria: a provider-reported baseline A1C and at least 2 weeks of data, with no users left out. The company says it's the first aid maker to do this. Worth knowing, it's the company's own dashboard, best read alongside independent data. Source: Bionics press release. Early screening cut dangerous DKA to 0 across 6 children's clinics. Reported at the 2026 ADA Scientific Sessions by Breakthrough T1D, 6 pediatric centers screened children for the iLet autoantibodies that mark early type 1. Across more than 1,700 kids, none developed diabetic ketoacidosis, DKA, a dangerous complication when type 1 is caught late. About 85% stayed in monitoring, and 73% were offered Tzield. This is a quality improvement program presented at a conference, not a randomized trial. Source: Breakthrough T1D, ADA 2026 recap. Type 1 was called juvenile. The 2026 guidelines now address aging with it. The ADA's 2026 Standards of Care added a dedicated section on older adults with type 1 diabetes, reflecting that many now live into their 70s and 80s with it, and that type 1 is increasingly diagnosed later in life. The guidance calls for tailoring care to overall health, daily function, and support, and watching closely for lows, frailty, and kidney disease. Source: ADA Standards of Care in Diabetes 2026, older adults. That's the week. This is news, not medical advice. Always talk to your care team before changing anything about your management. New recap every Saturday. Subscribe to T1D Pulse.